And we're back. Hi, everyone. This is the Jedi Archives. We're your favorite after show. I'm sure the only after show you listen to. My name's John.
And I'm Mike, and welcome
And
back, everybody.
Bryce. Bryce. No Bryce today.
Hey, Bryce, where'd you go?
He's a little under the weather today. But me and Mike are going to do our best to soldier on without him. We're doing episodes 1 and 2 of The Acolyte. We're going to talk about what we think about. They had some interesting titles. Did you?
Yeah. So the
I
first
don't
one
say
is Lost and Found, right? That's the
very
first episode.
interesting titles, and I was kind of, all right, is this going to be a one-time thing? But then the second one is the same thing, also kind of like the slash thing. Like they're kind of, I thought it was a little odd, but then I was like, you know what? We have this duality in titles. We also have this duality in characters now. There's going to be full of spoilers, just so you know. So we have duality in characters. So this kind of makes sense. We got to do it. We said Lost and Found. What was the name of the first one?
It's Lost/Found.
Yeah.
And the second one, I don't have my notes ready, but it's it was similar. 2-word
Yeah.
slash.
It's just it's really interesting the way that they started that. So I like it. So, but what are your first impressions of the new Acolyte show?
The first thing I want to talk about is, and it ties into like the biggest thing that I want to talk about is Abeloth, of course. That's like my biggest connection thing that I think I may have seen in these first 2 issues or first 2 episodes. In the beginning, when they show the droid heads, and the helmet, all the buckets and the droids.
Revenge Justice. I'm sorry. I got it. This bugged me.
Right.
Revenge Justice. Yeah.
But it's slash.
Say Abeloth?
Yeah, let me tell you why. So at the very beginning, the opening, you know how they show the buckets and the droids? And showing all the different colored droids and buckets.
Oh, yeah.
Did you notice C-3PO's eyes had twinkles in them?
No, I did not.
It's never happened before.
Okay.
So I'm gonna say I did go to the advanced screening. So I went to the preview screening, got my poster. It was pretty awesome.
Nice.
Got my free popcorn, free drink, and it was nice to see it on Monday night. In a theater, IMAX with we had Prime Sound. So if you're familiar with that, AMC Prime Sound, there's speakers all around the theater, on all the walls, on the ceilings, behind you. So the theater just thunders and shakes at certain moments. So it was awesome. And the screen's, of course, like an IMAX screen. It's enormous. So I could see a lot of details that I noticed I didn't see on my television screen. But when I saw that opening, I'm like, why does 3PO's eyes have the twinkles? And that's really important because in the EU, Abeloth has like stars in her eyes. It's very vividly described over and over in the Fate of the Jedi series. And she has like black hole eyes, or black, with little star twinkles. So when I saw that right away, I got chills saying, hey, that's very Abelothy, right? And we also saw the black eyes again when Osha has that vision of her sister. And she asks her, did you kill Master Indara? And she says, yes. And her eyes go black. That's the same thing that happens in Fate of the Jedi series when Abeloth takes over other individuals and she possesses them. So I was like really excited about that.
Mike, I just want to let you know, right out of the gate, you threw the biggest change up. I'm ready to swing, and you caught me looking swinging. I had no idea you were going to go this route. Honestly, I was just like, it's hard for me to even have. I'm like, have to reboot. Like, well, my wasn't there at all. When I think of Abeloth, obviously the books, but I'm hoping she ends up with the Ahsoka stuff. Because I remember there was a little bit of teasing with that.
Of course.
You kind of dig into this. It's I'm not even in that realm of thinking that, so I can't have much to participate in this conversation.
I think everything is tying Abeloth in. So she might not be in this series at all, but they might be little Easter eggs for future shows or future projects.
The one thing
that I've noticed.
The one thing, even though every time they do Star Wars now, it's supposed to be all in the same universe, I still feel, sometimes I get the idea that you have the Filoniverse, and then you have the other Star Wars verse. Kind of what else is going on. And I don't know how much they mesh that well. I mean, they do. Obviously, they do, but I don't really get a lot of Easter eggs connecting like you do everything else. Like anything Filoniverse connects together great, and anything in the comics or the books or this like connects together great. They just don't connect together. It's maybe they will.
They do. To me, I always see connections across all because that's the one big thing I talk about all the time is I love little connections, and I see them across the different genres and across the different. I don't know if they're called platforms or whatever, but I do see a lot of those connections.
The one thing I did, it's funny that you got something right off the back. The thing I got right off the back was I almost don't think this series, I know it's based on the High Republic, but I don't know how much it's based on the High Republic because there's a couple things that kind of like, I don't know if they connect completely to the High Republic, like almost like Leslie was the main writer, but I don't know if she read all the High Republic because that opening crawl said it's been peace for thousands of years, and less than 100 years before that, tens of million people have died in the Great Disaster.
Yeah. I don't think it said peace for thousands of years.
It said
it's currently at peace.
No, it said it's prosperous and without war. It didn't say peace.
Without war.
Thousands a year. But I don't know. It's hard to say you could be like that when literally, I don't want to say hundreds of millions, but I know tens of millions of people have just died. And it was called the Great Disaster. The whole planet blew up with people on it.
But the Great Disaster is not a war. So yeah, bad things have been happening.
I guess just the way it's worded, it just makes it sound like it's been peaceful. Is the way when I read that crawl, it's been pretty bad. I mean,
the way I read the crawl, John, the way I read the crawl is there has no been the last war that they had was the Sith Wars, and so from that point forward, there hasn't been a major war like that. That's intergalactic.
Let's try to get the text.
What?
I was trying to get the exact opening crawl, the new one, how it was worded, because it's just I don't know. When I read it, it sounded like they were at peace, and to me, the galaxy was under hostage, wasn't it? Like they had half the galaxy
over 100 years, over 100 years prior. So what I got from that crawl is that all of the stuff that we've been reading about in the High Republic has all been put to rest. It's all been resolved, and then it has progressed with nothing happening since then. So I don't think they meant to say that there hasn't been any Drengir, there hasn't been any, Marchion Row attacks or, the occlusion zone. It doesn't negate those. It's just saying that those have been resolved and it's been peaceful, but those were never considered a war. Like the last war the wartime was Sith Wars. So I'm thinking that.
So I guess that's just like semantics. So this is 100 years before the rise of the Empire. It is a time of peace. The Jedi Order and the Galactic Republic have prospered for centuries without war. So I don't know the way I worked it. Yeah, I guess. I mean, half the galaxy they had those barriers up. I just think they're downplaying how big the Nihil was. I mean, they sent whole fleets to go attack the Nihil at the end of that first book. I mean, at that point you're like, it's a war. You just don't want to say it's a war.
Well, it wasn't a war.
I'm sure if you read the books, they use the word war several times. I'm sure the Nihil say it's the war on the Republic. Nihil says it's the war on the Jedi. So it's just kind of like, I don't know. I feel it's the most disastrous thing that's happened in the galaxy since the Sith War. I mean, it's millions of people have died. And just to not add the word war, it's 100 years ago. I don't know. I just feel like maybe she's downplaying how big the Nihil was. And to me, I love the Nihil. And I love these books. The whole thing about the High Republic is how bad the galaxy is right now. I mean, every Jedi we know has died. It's I don't know. I guess just to not to use the word war is kind of I don't know. That's one thing that kind of bugged me because I feel like they're almost ignoring what's going on in the High Republic books right now.
Right. I didn't see much of the High Republic reflected in this new series.
Yeah, I didn't either, and that's kind of
Mhm.
what I was saying. I felt like you didn't never saw their insignia. They had a different
Mhm.
insignia, and
It's already transitioning. Yeah.
yeah, there was one other thing that had to do with High Republic. I could not remember what it was, but like to me, it was like I'll remember when we talk about it. But I had three things that didn't really tie into the High Republic, but it should have been. But yeah, it's just something I thought about when I read that because it came right off the back, and I was just like, well. But I will say, for the most part, I am enjoying the series so far. It's I'm not hating on it or anything. I just thought the crawl was a little weird. It was a unique crawl style. It wasn't traditional crawl. It was almost like a boom, 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 like three paragraphs went up real quick. So
Mhm.
that was cool.
Yeah, and I'd also like to add, if you watched our preview show, a certain someone did kind of say that a certain Indara, Master Indara, would be killed early on in the beginning, and that certain someone was correct. So thank you very
Yeah.
much.
So there's two things. That was the other thing. I even though I think we all predicted that. Actually, I don't think one of us. I think we all kind of figured she was
I
going to die.
did. We can play
Yeah,
back the recording.
I said it too. I think she was going to die quick.
Yes.
I'm happy she died quick though, even though we predicted it. I uh, I kind of wanted her to last a little longer. I think she could have been a really cool character.
Well, we're gonna get her back in a flashback for sure.
Yeah, I don't
We
know.
already saw in
Flashbacks
the
aren't the same.
preview.
Yeah,
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 but we're still gonna get her. We'll
yeah.
see what she's been doing. But I did predict that because I just feel one of my complaints is that the Disney's giving too much in the previews, giving away too much in the previews, and I'm not a fan of that because it's like they I feel like they're paranoid that no one's gonna watch, so they're gonna release like the best, most flashiest scenes, so people will be like all hyped up, thinking, "Oh, I want to see that." But then when
Yeah.
you see it, they're like giving up a lot of the plot points. That just kind of irks me a little bit.
I mean, yeah. That is going. That's it. All this time. What do we reveal? What do we need to get people here? It's a real tough thing. If you have a product good enough, you don't have to put nothing out. It's real
Right.
good about it. You just say we're going to put this show out and put a title, and people will come to it. Sometimes you have to put that out to bring up hype. I understand it's rough. It's a really tight line, and I do say they show a lot of always the first few episodes. I mean,
Correct. Correct.
always the first few episodes. They show a lot.
Right.
And then they kind of teeter off, which I do appreciate. Not show the ending stuff, so but they do like
Right.
there's a lot to get you going.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, but yeah, I was a little disappointed in her going so quickly because she seemed like such a cool character, and I really wanted more
I
Carrie
know.
Ann Moss.
And
So
I thought she's dead with just a little blade in her chest. That's gonna kill her. Come on.
what, if it was a lightsaber, she would have been fine.
You know what I think it was? I think those daggers. I think those daggers must have been laced with
Poison.
some type of poison. Yeah,
Yeah, we'll just
it's
say
got to
that.
be. It's
We'll
got to
go with
be.
that.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
there's no way that tiny ass little blade, because it's tiny. I mean, it was just not even as long as her fist.
yeah.
Just a little tip was gonna touch her heart, and there's no way that's gonna kill her. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Um, but yeah, I mean, for the story, what are you thinking about the story going forward? Are we thinking? Are you enjoying it so far?
I am, and I like that. So going back to what all the things that I saw in there that were very Abelothi, you had the
Well,
black eyes, right? The black eyes, the taking over of the eyes, like she did in the Fate of the Jedi series, but also that Sith Lord or whoever that is in the mask has that big smile with the teeth that look like Abeloth's mouth. So all of that's like wow. And then they never really said that it was a he. So the Jedi are keep asking her, who trained you? What is his name, right? But notice that the other guy that's working with May, what's his name? Kieran? Or
yeah, he's almost like a
Petey?
proprietor or an assistant.
Yeah, her assistant, the one who was in the apothecarian's what's his name?
I'm gonna be honest. It's the beginning. There's a lot of new names.
Kamir. And so Kamir never says that it's he. So they make every effort to not reveal the gender of that person in the suit, with the
It's
red saber.
there's a chance that they could be really tricky, intrigue. It could be him that they're trying to trick us. That'd be
It
kind of
could be
interesting.
Kamir,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Hmm.
I remember. I did notice it's kind of a slender. They're both really slender, kind of long, so it could be either one. But yeah,
Hmm. But she doesn't know who it is because she only ever sees him in the suit,
yeah.
right? Because even when Saul freezes her and checks her mind, it's like, oh, you don't even know who he is. So even if you wanted to tell me, you couldn't. And so he realizes that. And the thing about that mind probing thing, I saw a lot of behavior that was very much like Anakin's behavior. That was a little bit beyond what Jedi should be doing, of what we're used to. Because
Oh,
remember,
you're talking about when he was in the prison, not prison, but like the guy was in the prison. He went up to her, silence your mind. Yeah.
he
Or
does it
calm
twice.
your
He does
mind.
it there. He does it there. He probes his mind, but no, he doesn't probe his mind. He just calms him and manipulates him to say what he wanted to say. But when he actually goes to find May, when they wait for her, right, and they ambush her, and they're out on that dirt road in the town, and uh, he disarms her, right, takes away all her little daggers, and then he knocks her over and she's floating. He has her through the force floating, and he asks her, "Who trained you? Who's your who is it?" And then he looks into her mind and says, "Oh, you don't even know." So that's the
Uh,
same thing that, remember, Anakin was doing that, probing into their minds, but also
yeah.
it happened in the sequel trilogy when Kylo Ren does it to Rey. And but the thing
Yeah.
about that probing into their mind is when you touch their mind, from what I read, they also touch yours. And that's how Rey was able to access all the teachings that Kylo had. And so it goes both ways. It's not just one. It's like, they the touch bind connects them. So
No,
when he did that,
that's a good point. I didn't really even catch that. I just kind of thought maybe assumed she didn't know because she didn't say nothing. But no, that was a good catch. Now that I think about it.
mhm. And
What
there were,
one thing I did notice was another prediction we all got right was I think the poster kind of gave it away. Is May and Osha? I didn't even know there was her name was Osha. I just thought it was May because remember that was in the promotional stuff was May,
right.
and we were all kind of like, well, maybe it's twin sisters. Especially when the trailer, like we were just talking about, she was so adamant it wasn't me. The scene from The Fugitive, it wasn't me. I'm like,
Right.
God, she looked really earnest. So that really kind of gave it away, kind of leaned towards it. So I,
Although that would have been something that a really good conniving person would have been able to play off.
yeah, well, I thought it'd been really, especially since it was kind of pitched as a murder mystery and somebody's killing the Jedi. I thought we were going to go along, kind of stringing us along. Is she two people? Is she also doing this? Is she losing her mind? And it is what we thought. But I think they kind of gave that away a little too early. They want to move
Hmm.
on to the next mystery. Is really what the Jedi did wrong. But it kind of it did move on pretty quickly, and I think the actress is doing a great job playing both characters.
Yeah,
I
she's
really
good.
believe she's two different people. But
Hmm.
what were your
Well,
thoughts on
I
the
want to
twin?
I want to bring something up with that though. At the beginning, so I think one thing she said is that everything you think about this is going to be wrong. That's what the director writer said about the whole series. And when Saul is training the younglings, he tells them, "Close your eyes can deceive you." So I think everything that we're seeing and basing our assumptions on is deceiving us. So there's a couple of things. And I think and for me, the great deceiver is of course Abeloth. She's a bringer of chaos. And so it all ties into that as well, like in the long run. And so what I noticed is that you see that May is the one who killed Indara, right? And then we also see Osha, who was trained for 10 years and thought her sister was dead. But then after only, what is it, 6 years of having left the order, just like Ahsoka left, she can't even pull Pip to her with the Force. I thought, wait, how can you have trained for 10 years? First of all, we know she's force sensitive. That's one, because otherwise Master Soul would not have taken her and inducted her into the order and had her as his Padawan. Number two, she trained for 10 years under him. So she must have learned at least how to pull something towards her using the force, telekinesis. And after only 6 years, she forgot and can't do anything with the force? To me, that's like, that doesn't make sense. The other thing about it is when she was on that transport that she'd been arrested, they made a specific point to say how that other man had that alien on his mouth that was keeping him subdued. And then she asked, well, is it hurting him? And the other guy said, the alien's like, oh no, he's having a great time because it does something to your mind. So it's like a hallucinogenic. So in other words, the guy's like all hallucinating. And notice how everyone left the ship and she was alone on the ship. But when she tasered the little alien, it went up into the vent. So she was alone on the ship with the alien when it crashed on Karnak. And then if she crashed and passed out, that little alien is a parasite. Why wouldn't it have gone on her mouth to then have her have these hallucinations? So maybe all of this is like a hallucination because she saw her sister, she walked to the cave. All of a sudden she's on her home planet when she was a child. And then she really wakes up again and it's the beginning of like they just crashed. So all of that was just like a forced vision. Or maybe not. Maybe it's just she's having a hallucination from this little alien that's stuck on her mouth.
Are you saying the alien's still stuck on her mouth?
I'm thinking it might be, or it might have jumped off, and she's having this vision thing. She's clouded.
So the thing with that is, if it was real short, like the vision thing, what's the point of it? Why not just show it? Like, what are they going to show us flashback with it sitting on her mouth, which is iffy. But if it's still on her mouth, oh, the show is going to get some bad bombs, man. If they're doing a couple of episodes of some type of hallucination, it's going to hit some hate, man.
I don't know.
I would hate it.
Why would the writers specifically put attention and time and effort to describe that creature and what its effects are? And it was called a dibuk. And a dibuk in Jewish culture is like a dibuk is a parasite that is used to subdue him. And in the Jewish folklore, the dibuk is a malevolent spirit that enters and possesses the body of a living person until it is exorcised. So that's what a dibuk is, and that's the same word in Jewish folklore and also in the Star Wars lore now.
Maybe they just introduce it because we might see it later. Maybe they use it as a thing to subdue May later or something. I don't know. I just know it is. When you think about it, it's kind of, well, why did they introduce that? It's kind of weird.
Why did they? It's got to be purposeful.
But I don't know about her being under it now.
I don't know. If under now. I'm just saying.
That'd be a huge. It would get a lot of hate. The show's already getting some hate. That would just bomb the show. Like, are you?
Well, the show's gonna get hate no matter what. It could be the best thing ever. It's gonna get hate.
No.
But there was something about them saying hell on this series, right? Oh, they said hell. It takes them out of the universe. Han Solo said hell in Empire Strikes Back. That I'll see.
No, but I'm saying, give me a good story. I'm not hating. I hate the title. I thought was a little weird, but the story, I'm fine with. If they do some crap like that, these last few episodes are hallucination. People who did like it, they're gonna not like it no more. So any people that do like, that's a big swing. Yeah,
I'm not saying that's what's gonna happen. I'm just saying that we're in for some twists because her style of writing is
maybe I kind of hope so because it is moving almost a little, like I said, like
too fast.
Pacing is too. I mean, we just killed the most popular actress in the first 5 minutes, and then they gave away the biggest spoiler in the first episode. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of really there is one secret left. Well, I guess there's two kind of secrets left. The one secret is what happened. Why are the Jedi? What happened on the planet when they were 10 years old?
Jedi she wants to kill the ones on the hit list.
So that's the secret.
I think that they're part of this witches cult, right? All of them. May's family was too, and I think the Jedi went there to destroy them all because they must have been like some dark side Force users. So they went to burn the whole village. Maybe May did it, and I think that she was evil. So then they must have killed her, and then Soul saw somebody kill her because she tells because Carrie-Anne Moss's character recognized her, and she moved her hair over and saw the tattoo on her forehead.
Yeah.
which only May has, not Osha.
Yeah.
And that's confirmed when you see the flashback
Yeah.
to her dream when they're children. They very specifically show that May has the white tattoo on her forehead and Osha does not, and they're two different children
Yeah.
in as
I,
the young ones.
I'm a little nervous about what actually happened. I could see it's a point of view. It might look like the Jedi did something bad, but you cannot have the Jedi doing something evil like that.
Yes,
And
but listen, you can because remember Master Torben he's in the Barrage.
that was the third thing. I'll get back to that later,
Okay,
but
but he's in the Barrage vow because they do that, and we know that from our comic review, right? When Barrage Sylvain is named after that Jedi from the High Republic, where she was tricked by the woman who said she was pregnant. And so she let herself be swayed away from the force to what she felt was right because of this poor woman that they were like lost lovers from two different, like Romeo and Juliet. So she tried to do the right thing, but she was being manipulated. And after that, when she realized that she was manipulated, she took on the Barash vow. And after that point, it was named after her. But she wasn't the first or the last to go in that vow. Obi-Wan did it himself while he was on Tatooine. So she did that vow, but it's named after her because she even told her adopted brother, "I need to do
like,
this because I feel like I did something deeply wrong." So the Jedi, there have been like 1,400 Jedi or 14,000 Jedi, I think I read somewhere, that have taken on the Barash vow, and they
yeah, but
only
not
do
evil.
that.
It's like
No, no, it's not
tricked
evil.
or made a
It's
mistake, but they're kind of
right.
making it seem like this is evil. He
No,
had,
they didn't say it
he
was evil.
killed himself. He killed himself, Torben.
For her, she told him, "If you do this, then I will forgive you." For her forgiveness because he felt so guilty about what they had done, even if it had just been a mistake.
Well, that's what I'm
So
saying. That's what I'm saying. As long as it's not evil, they can have a mistake as long as it's
no, it's
not
not evil.
evil. And
It's
I'm
not
just
evil.
really worried that they're going to have these four Jedi do something evil, and that's all I
No, no,
care
no,
about. Just
no.
have some
I don't
kind of
think.
misunderstanding,
I
some kind of
don't think it's
mistake.
evil.
I don't want these
Yeah.
four Jedi to go like murderous intent because I'm like, that's not the
No,
Jedi,
no,
and
no.
that's what all I was saying. I was nervous they're going to do something
Right.
like that.
No, I don't think they
Yeah.
will. But I think that Jedi can be misguided and do something that
Yeah.
they think was right because we've seen that in the High Republic with
Yeah.
Barash Sylvain, who's probably one of the purest of Jedi that we've ever read. She's completely like white,
Yeah.
her white hair, white face, everything. So she's like purity in literature. White means purity, and but she is misguided by being persuaded and manipulated by the the wife who wasn't even pregnant. She was just lying.
Yeah.
Um,
I think that was Bryce's one of Bryce's favorite storylines.
I know. That's why I wish she was
What do
here.
you think, Bryce?
You like that one, huh, Bryce? Yeah.
um,
But yeah, the Barrage vow, and I liked hearing it because anytime I heard something with the that tied me or reminded me of the High Republic, my ears perked up. I was
well,
really happy.
that was almost the other thing I was talking about. What was Buckets of Blood's name?
Torben Buck,
Torben. This is so.
Master Torben Buck. This is Master Torben.
I thought that was a little weird. I was like, if you really would have read all the comics, you're not going to have a second Master Yoda.
You know what? There was a lot of sloppy writing. Also
we already have a Master Torben, so have another.
We already have a Master Indira Stokes too. Indira Stokes on the Jedi Council. Why do we have another Master Indara so close? We also have Bunta is reused again too. Now it's a poison. Osha sounds like Ochi. Right? It's like, come on. I felt like that was too repetitive too. Too many recycling of names.
The Indira, I was like, what? It's just like, Master Yoba, Master Yoda. I'm like, this.
Master Torben. I thought it was going to be Master Torben Buck. I'm like that is not Master Torben Buck.
Yeah. So that kind of, that's just to me was like maybe not everything was read because he's pretty prominent in the comics. I don't know if he's in the books that much. But he's pretty prominent in the comics. He's buckets of blood. I mean, so, but yeah. I thought that meditation thing was pretty cool. I mean,
that was cool.
The thing. The beard looked a little cheesy, but whatever.
Yeah. Well, he looked like a trans. He looked to me like trans man. That's what he looked like to me. I'm like Torben Buck was not a trans man, but it's okay.
Yeah.
Torben might be.
One other thing I wanted to talk about was the aliens. I love the Mnemonians. I was like, First thing we saw was them right off the back. Like,
Yeah.
yes, I loved it so much. After that, though, I feel like the aliens went down. I felt like
But there were a bunch. There were a bunch. Look, we
there
got
was
Thelans. We got Thelans for the first time. I love that because Soul's Padawan is a Thelan human hybrid. So that was
there.
cool to see
It
that.
was. I guess what I'm saying is there's a lot of. I maybe I love the pneumonians because I recognize them, and I didn't recognize any of the other aliens really.
Well, the other ones are in the books. So I read the
Yeah.
novels like in the so the first time I saw the Thelans was in the Aftermath series, which came out before the movies of the sequel trilogy, and in the Aftermath series there was a very prominent Thelan. Also in the Rise of the Red Blades we have a Zagarian, right, which are like the cat-like aliens, and that was a Padawan for Jord, right? George
Okay.
Padawan is a Zagarian. She's like cat ears, right? So it was like really cool to see these aliens that we've read about in the novels. Haven't actually seen that much in comics either, but now to
Yeah.
see them in live action was really cool. So I like that a lot too. And also that character, the cat one, the Zagarian,
She is Yard's
George
apprentice.
Padawan.
Okay.
Yes, his Padawan. She's the one that had the
She's
data
with the
pad and was
attitude.
going.
She's
Yes. She's like, when did you leave? Why was this? You were the youngest. She's like, all this stuff, right? But her. So that's the same species that was also instrumental in recruiting all the in the Jedi Temple, the ones that were going to be future acolytes, not acolytes, future the ones that hunt the Jedi, the
Inquisitors.
Inquisitors, yes.
Yeah,
And so that was really cool to see another of that species because they were in the Jedi Temple too.
that's cool.
That was cool.
So yeah, I mean, for the most part, I was happy to see a lot of aliens. I would like to see a few more traditional OT aliens. Maybe we'll get those down the road. It's only been 2 episodes, but that was very cool to see new ones. A lot of locations. I mean, we're on 6 planets.
And a
I
lot of
mean,
locations, a lot of locations that match things from video games and from novels, not necessarily just movies. So we got lots
really.
of references. Yes, so that was pretty
So
cool.
that's interesting because like going into this, I was like, I don't think the opposite of Ahsoka. A lot of people saying the price of admission would be pretty low, and like that price of admission is pretty. I think anyone can jump in and start watching this, which is good.
Yes.
But it's cool that they're having a lot of Easter eggs for people that know all that stuff. It sounds like you're getting a lot out of it, and to me, a lot of this, even though I've read a lot of it, but a lot of the stuff is still new to me. So, but I know you read a lot more.
But
So,
even the things that are connecting are very minimal. So they
yeah,
don't really focus too much on it. So you don't have to have that
yeah, oh
knowledge.
yeah. It's not
Yeah.
important that we've been to this planet before in another
Right.
video game or something, but it's just cool that they bring it back.
But if you do know it, then you have a lot more history.
Yeah.
So then you can put more connections to it. And I like connections, so that's my big thing. But I do know. So I watch. I'm a Star Wars big super fanatic, right? Everybody knows. But my husband not so much. But he's liking this series because he doesn't need to have all of that background knowledge, and he doesn't have it first of all. But because it's not required and it's really its own story, this is pretty much standalone Star Wars. Anybody can watch this without having seen anything else, and they
And
can enjoy it.
you don't have to build stuff up like you did with Ahsoka. Like, all right, what's going to happen? Is this going to happen?
Right.
Is that going to do this? This is just like let's just see. Let's just go for the ride, and that's
Right.
refreshing. It's cool, and that's kind of what I want a new Star. That's where I even got into the High Republic books first place. Give me a new story where I don't have to have
Know
any
anything?
expectations. Yeah, so there's a lot, and now they've kind of boxed themselves in. Yeah, just
But you know what, John?
yeah.
Just to remind everybody, when Star Wars came out, we didn't know what the heck it was going to be about. I went into that theater not knowing anything because the promos and there were no previews. First of all, when it came out in '77, there was like the one I remember because I was a 10-year-old kid at the time. It came out on TV, whoosh, right? It was like space. It was like Star Wars, intergalactic battle, da, 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 and that's it. There was like
Yeah.
there was no spoilers of anything, and we're like, what is this going to be about? We had no expectations. Went into the theaters, and then my mind was blown by the end of it from the very beginning because I had no expectations. And I think the people hating on Star Wars now have too many expectations. So if you have an expectation, great, write your own book, make your own comic, produce something. But if you just want to enjoy what stories are coming out from other creative people, just enjoy it. Don't have any expectations and rate it after the fact. How many people hated this series before they had even seen it? There was so much negativity without having
Yeah,
even seen it. Nobody has seen
yeah.
all 8 episodes yet. So you can't hate something you haven't seen. Just like you can't hate a food you haven't tasted.
No, you can. It just doesn't make sense.
You can, but that's kind of dumb. That's kind of dumb.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's tough not to tell people not to have expectations. I mean, it's just something you do in your
They
mind.
can.
Where does everybody live? In their own head. I mean, that's we're piloting our own body. That's pretty much what it
And
is. So we
everybody
spend
is
all
not that important either. So
so,
no matter how much
not
they
that
think they
important.
are,
Yeah,
right.
yeah. Relax, just go with the flow. But yeah, so I mean, generally, I think we're kind of on the same pages. We're enjoying it mostly. I'm
I do
hoping other people
have
give
a
it
negative.
shots.
Can I bring up a negative point?
I have some little things too, like all right. So there's one thing that was a little cringy, maybe two things that I saw when it happened. I was like, they didn't need to do that. And what that is going to do is going to point it out to someone else.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the fire on its face. I was like, you got to be kidding me. Come on, Star Wars. Come on. She's literally in a spacesuit with magnetic boots. And it wasn't even like, because whenever we do have fires in Star Wars in space, it's an implosion. But it's not like a roaring fire from like a fire pit. I was like, and I just saw, I was like, it didn't hurt it for me, but I immediately was like, somebody's going to point that out. And the first conversation I had with someone, the first thing they said, who's not a huge Star Wars fan, was like, is that fire in space? I was like, and I couldn't defend it. And I want to defend it. I'm just like, suspend disbelief. Yeah.
You know what? This is what I tell people. There are fires underwater. They happen. You might think there wouldn't be, but that it isn't a real thing. Fires can happen in space. All right. Now, in real space, you wouldn't see it like that, but fires do happen because the International Space Station can absolutely burn down. It can.
Yeah,
It's a possibility. So, but in Star Wars, we have always seen fire in space. That's nothing new. Go back to, when the battle above Coruscant, they're in space and there's fire. When they blow up the Death Star, there's fire. You really should not even see an explosion in space. So if you want to really hate on that, hate all the Star Wars.
Yeah, it's just
that's just in Star Wars. There is fire in space,
and I didn't want to have to defend it. So I'm just like, they could just. Well, I don't understand the point of it. She could have done the same thing in the ship, fixing apart the fire.
The point is that it's cool, okay, and we like seeing it.
No, it was. The point was just. I don't know. Maybe lazy writing. I don't know. Just do it inside. Just so I don't have to defend it. That's really all. Like first person said, "What was that fire?" I was like, "Oh man, I knew this was gonna come up."
All you have to say is that Star Wars has fires in space.
And
Boom.
then
End of story.
And then the other one that was a little like, "Come on, guys, you can do better." Writing that was.
Well, my turn. My turn.
Oh, your turn.
My turn that I thought was kind of cringy was I heard that they spent a lot more money on the special effects on this series than for Kenobi series, and yet when that ship crashes on that ice planet on Karnak, on Karlak, it looked like straight out of a video game. It was just kind of cheap special effects.
So that's something I don't know why, but we've all seen the posts, the memes, the trends with special effects. They'll show something from 10 years ago, and they'll show something from now. We all seen the third eye on Doctor Strange. Is that people are like, why does special effects feel more video game now? I don't know what's happening. This is just something going on with special effects. They're going through their teenager phase. I don't know, but it's just a little awkward, and it was a little video gamey. Yeah, that's another
I
one.
like video games, so I didn't mind it so much, but I could tell right away.
It did. To me, I understand you can't have a real spaceship crash, as much as I would like it to. So it's got to be a model, got to be CGI. It is just what it is. Just do your best. But yeah.
What's your next cringy thing?
All right, my next little teeny one was. This is a trope we've seen a bunch of times, but kind of an old school when they capture the hero, they put the hero in a prison with no guards. Like, two Jedi just caught a Jedi killer, and they're gonna put her on a ship with one droid security guard,
Well,
with a
he's the
bunch of other
warden,
droids,
but he's
and it's
Iron
like,
Man warden. Iron Man warden.
but why don't they just take her themselves? I thought that was a little. I was like, well, I didn't understand. I was like, why are they leaving her? They're taking it Coruscant. They're going to Coruscant. You see them later in Coruscant. I thought that was a little whack, but it's a cringy trope. I don't know why storytellers like to do that, make it easy for the hero to escape. I mean, I said it every time I see it, like James Bond. Why don't you put more guards on the guy? That's how I done. I was like, I don't understand why they leave him alone. It's the Austin Powers thing. It's like, oh, leave him alone. Whatever. But one inept guard is the thing. But that was just just some trope they like to do. Didn't ruin it for me. Like I said, it's just like, let me cringe a little bit. But
I'm still enjoying the series.
Not affecting the story at all for me. But those are like, I've listened to some reviews, some people pouring out some little things that's like, someone said the dialogue's a little weird.
Another thing I like to remember is that these are written for 10-year-olds. So remember, Star Wars is for 10-year-olds.
I don't know if this one's for 10-year-olds.
I mean, Star Wars in general.
Yeah.
If George Lucas has always said it. He's always he wanted to target children, at that particular age of pre-adolescence, because that's where they're deciding, who am I, what's my role in life, and how does right and wrong. So he had to keep it very simple. And so, a 10-year-old wouldn't care that there was fire in space, right? So, of course, if you talk to a physicist, they're going to have lots of complaints about any science fiction movie. But it's called science fiction, not science fact.
Yeah.
So I'm okay with it. But when I see any Star Wars or read any Star Wars, I always think of it from the perspective of 10-year-old me. Because when I was 10 and I saw Star Wars, it blew my mind. When I see Star Wars now, it doesn't blow my mind now. It's very nostalgic and I love it. But if I were to criticize it from where I am now in my point in life, there are some things that are cringy about Star Wars too, if you want to admit it.
Yeah.
But if you think about it in the big picture, the scope of it, of the storytelling, I think it's fine. And for 10-year-olds, I think it's great.
Yeah, it's just I don't want to have to defend, and that's what happens a lot, because of any little chinks in the armor, people are going to say, well, what's this, what's that? And I just want it to be really enjoyable, perfect. Like Bad Batch was pretty damn close. Bad Batch, I don't have much to defend. People don't have much to say about Bad Batch. That's bad. So it's like, there's some things that come out, like Mandalorian seasons 1 and 2. Not one person can say anything wrong. Season 3, there's some things.
I'm sure I can find some things that I don't like about Mandalorian.
Not season 1 and 2.
I bet you I could. But the point is that I choose not to be nitpicky. So for the nitpicky people that want to complain, I just let them. I say that's good for you. If you want to be unhappy about it, go for it. You have that right.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that it takes away from my happiness of enjoying it. And so for all the people that hate it, that's fine. You can hate it. I don't mind. It's okay that you hate it. I happen to love it. So the last thing I want to bring up is getting to Kofar and seeing Kelnaka, the Wookiee Jedi.
Yeah, that was it was really quick. Yeah, it was,
really brief, but I like seeing him.
You think she's gonna off Kelnaka? That's gonna be pretty rough for people to watch if she can kill him.
I don't think she will, but I think she's headed there next.
I think she's definitely headed there next.
Yeah,
I think she kills him next. Honestly, I think she's gonna work her way through them. Maybe stop at Seoul.
I don't think Kelnaka dies.
Yeah, I don't want him to die. I mean, nobody wants to see a Wookiee die.
Well, there's a one-off comic coming out. I mean, I think, who was it, Charles Soule or Kevin Scott? One of them just announced that they're commissioned to do a one-off comic on Kelnaka, which we're going to review it in our comic review. So I'm excited about that. I don't know if she kills him. It's Eunice. I don't know. I'm okay with it. If she
I kind of think we have to see her story through. And
you know what? This is taking place. We don't see Wookiee Jedi in the Phantom Menace, the prequel trilogy.
Yeah,
so he's probably dead. So I would assume it's safe to say he's dead because they live a long time.
Yeah. One other thing I want to bring up. she has to kill a Jedi without a weapon.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think the poison counts or no? Or does that
No,
count as a weapon?
no, it's a
No,
weapon.
it did count. Okay. So
It
she
does not.
has to. Well, do you think she has to kill with their bare hands, or does she have to make them kill themselves without poison? Or what do you think the goal is there?
Because when she goes back, he remember when Osha goes back pretending to be May, and she talks to Kimmick or whatever. I can't remember his name, but him, and he tells her, "You did it. You killed him without the poison." Right? He says that,
Yeah.
and she goes, "No, he took the poison." So if she had done it without using the poison, because he says that it is possible, he tells her. So I'm thinking like it's. I think you're on to something because also when she snuck up on him, how was he able to disarm her and stop her so easily if she was able to kill Master Indara, right? So
Yeah.
she's pretty excellent in her skills. So he's not just a regular guy. He's like pretending to be all goofballish and whatever. But I think he secretly is maybe her master training her, and she doesn't know it. But that's why she
Yeah.
confides in him, so he knows everything, right?
I think he could be her master, or he could be another acolyte. Another.
Or he
Yeah.
could be her master, but she doesn't know it. She
Yeah.
only recognizes her
Oh yeah.
master in the
I don't think if he was that she would recognize him.
right
Yeah.
because he's acting like the bumbling fool, right? To throw
Yeah.
the scent off that it's him, just like Sith Jar Jar, right? Nobody would have suspected Sith Jar Jar because he's this bumbling fool. But going back to the resources that George Lucas was referencing, like Asimov's stories. There's one series where he's like the court jester, like a fool, but he actually ends
Yeah.
up being the villain, and
Yeah.
so that's a sneaky one. So
And
that's
this
also a
could
possibility.
fall in line with her line. Nothing's what you think it's going to be, or something like that.
Right, right. Hmm.
Because they already revealed a lot of stuff, so it's like what could still be hidden, so something like that.
So what
So
that tells me is that that's not really what this is all about. So the
yeah,
acolyte's going to be about something else.
I think there's another mystery, and we kept the way the trailer was. There's so in murdering Jedi. We thought that was the mystery, but it's not the mystery. Obviously, we figured it out pretty quickly. So I think there's another mystery that we have to figure it out, and
Hmm.
it'd be really nice if she hides it pretty well. So I think so far she's been the sole writer. So I know pretty
She
much the
is the full
story's
writer.
hers. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And she is a talented writer. So I'm glad that she's been able to do this and she's in charge of the whole story beginning to end because that'll at least give us her vision and the consistency within the storyline, you
yeah,
know, and not giving in to like uh, Disney Corporation saying, oh, investors don't like this, change it, you know. She's just, it's
yeah,
done. So I like that.
yeah. Oh, one other little thing I thought was fun. I feel like everybody's getting a companion droid and they're getting smaller.
Pip is cute. Pip
You had
is so
R2, you had Cal's droid,
BB-8.
BB-8, then you had Lola, and now you have this little video game droid. It's like,
Lola, you had Dio, and then Lola.
yeah, it's like everybody's getting a droid smaller and smaller and smaller. Like it's gonna be like a wristwatch droid soon.
Andor got a huge one.
Oh yeah, Andrew's got a huge one. But I just thought I was like, yeah, that's kind of cool. There, I mean, it's great. One thing why it's great is because they're gonna sell that droid, and I'll get it at Bat 2 West soon. Some kind of little Mordor's little pocket droid. So I think it'd be cool.
Now. I think it's there now.
Oh, they already have something like that? Yeah.
No, I'm just...
But yeah, I thought it was pretty cool. So I do love the sidekicks.
You know somebody has already 3D printed their own little Pip because he's so small, easy to print.
Yeah, so I'll get mine soon, and then there'll be some Pip custom. Yeah, there'll be a shoulder droid or something like that. Yeah, so but this one will move.
So last thought overall, how do you feel about the series?
I'm excited where it can go. I don't hate it. I'm not over the moon. I'm very mid. It's tampering expectations. I'm trying to. I don't want to set high expectations. I'm very hopeful, so that's good. I'm there's nothing like God. What are they doing? Or what is this crazy like that? Nothing's pissing me off. I like Sakura and Moss. Yeah, well, hopefully we'll get some good flashbacks. But yeah, so I'm excited. I'm not in hate mode yet. I can get triggered pretty quickly. So, but I'm excited right now.
Nice, nice. I have to agree. I really like the series. I actually did really enjoy it a lot. I loved it when I saw it in the theater, but now it spoiled me because I want to see all of the episodes in the
I
theater. It was just
know. I'm just
so nice.
let's just go back to the theater. I'm just
I
like, come
know
on,
it was so nice
man.
on the big screen with the surround sound. It was just awesome. And
Especially since this is rather a short series. It's
right,
8 episodes, 30 minutes long. I mean, they could have maybe turned into a movie. Oh, do you lose me?
or two movies, split up into two sections.
Yeah. So I was
But
like,
I
put me
I
back
like
in the theater. But yeah,
or give that option. Somebody could buy tickets to go see in the theater because I would pay to see this in the theater screen.
yeah.
And then it would sell concessions, so it's a win-win for everybody. Um, I really enjoyed the whole thing. I don't have any expectations. I think what I love about it the most is that it's a show that I can watch with my husband, and he doesn't have to have all the background of Star Wars to enjoy it, and we enjoy the show together. So whenever we can watch something together, and I think it unites lots of different people in the some that are fans, and then the future fandom. So people that are the haters, you're gonna die when all these young people are growing up and they're gonna love it. So they'll replace you. So I'm okay with that. So you old haters, all craggly, you're on your way out.
I'm
So
sure there's some young haters. You don't have to see
it's
how old
okay.
people.
'Cause you know what? There were some young haters too in my time, but
Yeah.
there are more of us.
I don't want to
There are
hate on
more of
old
us.
people. I mean,
I'm not hating on old people. I'm just saying that no matter what, you're older and you're aging. And
yeah.
so the young, all the ones that are watching the Young Jedi Adventures, they're gonna love it.
If you're watching the Young Jedi Adventures and you're watching this, you're, you're all over the place, man.
Look at Nubs.
Totally,
Look at Nubs.
completely different audience. Little
Look
kid
at
stuff, and
Nubs.
then show the talk has suicide in it.
Look,
Totally different spectrum.
I can't wait for Nubs to show up in the Acolyte.
He's gonna be like a grizzly bear.
He's,
He's gonna be adult.
he's gonna be her master. He's gonna be her master.
That'd be pretty cool, like a big blue grizzly bear, like
Yeah.
the Golden Compass grizzly bear is like
Yeah.
polar bear. I think that'd be cool.
All right. Final things. Any predictions?
um, I like I said, we kind of hit on it earlier. I think it's going to be. I don't know if it's a misunderstanding, but maybe a different point of view of what really happened 10 years ago, whatever, in the forest, and they all burnt down. I cannot see Jedi doing something intentionally evil. If they did something intentionally evil, that would really hurt this whole story for me. I'm just going to be honest. If they went out there, like, let's just kill these people, it's not Jedi, and that's bad writing. So that would really hurt for me. I'll be honest. But
Well,
I
I think it's gonna be. I think that the real story now is gonna be what happened on their planet.
yeah,
So I think that's the mystery that we're going to be finding
yeah,
out. And I think that if that's so, then we will get a lot more Carrie Ann Moss because this was actually the ending. So I'm thinking, what if these series are in the same format where we got the middle, now we're going to go to the prequel of it, and then at the end we get the sequel of it. It might be that kind of a
yeah. That'd be
pattern,
nice.
which is like the High Republic. We had the same thing, right? We got phase one was the middle, phase two was the prequel, and phase three was a sequel
Yeah,
that connects directly to the middle part. So I think if the Acolyte follows that same pattern, which is the whole Star Wars pattern with the original trilogy, the prequel trilogy, and then the sequel trilogy, I'm excited for it. I'm looking forward to
yeah.
the what's up ahead.
I would even be okay with not finding too much information on who the master is by the end of this. We can save that for season two. But
Right.
season one, I need to know
Wait,
what happened on that.
did they say there's going to be a season two?
No,
Oh,
I'm just saying that's something they could save. I mean, if it's a
that's
hit,
true.
why not do a season two?
Right.
So yeah, I just
I
what
want to
am I
bring
looking
this
at?
up. This is the Living Force. So just a connection I thought to this because this is the one that I just read most recently, and this takes place a year before the Phantom Menace. And this one, there is no mention of Sith. I don't know if I should spoil this one or not.
Go
Well,
ahead.
but
It's a book.
it's a book. At the very
Yeah.
end of the Living Force, there's little connections and hints to the Sith. So it's not public known to everyone, but there's a little nod to the reader where you can see where this is going, how it fits into the bigger story. So I think we might get
Yeah.
something like that in the Acolyte, which
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it.
My, the last little prediction. I don't think we get much that ties us to Sidious. I know a lot of people are like, I hope we get Plagueis, or I don't know if we're gonna get that. Honestly, it's 100 years. You can have a generation. You have two generations. Who knows? You can have multiple things. I don't know if they're gonna tie it that much. Like I said, sometimes I feel like this might be its own little thing. So that's a prediction. I don't. It's not
Yeah,
gonna hurt it if they do it. I just kind of predict that. So.
but I think it will give us more background about the Sith.
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah. I think this is we're gonna find out some pretty cool stuff. I'm excited. Yeah. So this master villain, I want to know more about, but like I don't even like I said, I don't need their identity yet. Yeah.
You mean Abeloth? So
That's it. That's it.
make sure you're following us on YouTube at Virtual Cantina Network, on Instagram at virtual.cantina network, on X, formerly Twitter, at Cantina Virtual, on Threads at virtual.cantina network, and on Hive at Virtual Cantina, and on TikTok at Virtual Cantina. And like the VCN Star Wars Celebration Japan 2025 Facebook page, which is the mother of all these shows. And shout out to our two partner sites, Star Wars Comic Book
Comic book
Club
nerd.
and Star Wars Book Nerds, who are our partners in everything Star Wars.
Almost call them Star Wars comic book nerds, but oh yeah, it's comic Star Wars book nerds and Star
Star
Wars
Wars
comic
Book
book
Nerds.
club. Yeah,
Yeah,
we
Star Wars
should
Comic
just
Book. Oh,
combine.
that's
Just
so
come.
fun. And thank you for joining us. And please
We're
leave
gonna
comments.
Yes, we're gonna be Please comment, please. But I want to hear Bryce's comments. I want to see if Bryce actually watched all hour of this show. Tell me if you watched the whole hour, Bryce. I want to know how many fingers am I holding here, Bryce. You have to tell me. That's how I'll know if you
Yeah.
watched the whole thing. We were all over the place. We had a lot to talk about. It was the first two episodes, so thank you for watching. Please comment, and we'll be doing this every week for the rest of our lives.
So see you next week
Uh,
our review of episode 3.
yes, and may the
May the
force
force be
be
with
with you.
you.